Well, I don't know much, but I know I love you. That may be all I need to know. Good morning, everyone.
Hey, you sir, stop there.
Hello, everyone. Misa back. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Cockpit. Hope everyone had an amazing Rogue Friday. I know I did. I know some people chose to just sit and order stuff online and wait for it to show up at their door, but honestly, you just can't beat the thrill sometimes of shoving people aside and smacking them in the face with a plastic lightsaber while you go for the Hover Tank Pilot Toys R Us exclusive that there's only 2 of. So in preparation for Rogue One, I've been going through some different material to get ready for the film. People who know what Rogue One is kind of have an idea of what they're going to be getting into. But there is some great new stuff in the canon that I think will kind of prepare you for the movie. But without further ado, this is my journey to Rogue One. I would start with Clone Wars Season 5, Episodes 2, 3, 4, and 5. This is the Onderon arc, and this is where we get introduced to Saw Gerrera, who Forrest Whitaker will be playing in Rogue One. He got that Warfro going on, man. It's crazy. After that, if you haven't checked out the Clone Wars Legacy episodes on StarWars.com, there's an unfinished story arc with Obi-Wan and Anakin, and it's about a giant kyber crystal that they're trying to retrieve. I mean, what if the Death Star, instead of just like shooting one bolt, it's like, beep, and it's just like giant space lightsaber, and just like would spin around and like blow up planets that way, you know, just slicing through them. Then it wouldn't have to blow them up, I guess. It just like cut it in half, and you got like 2 half planets. Next, I would move on to the book Tarkin by James Luceno, or Luceno. Anyway, this is a great book and a look into the character whom I know we're not really gonna necessarily get to see a lot of probably in this story, because they've got like Krennic that we're focusing on as a villain. But it does give you a little introspective into what's going on with the Empire in the early stages after the Clone Wars, and you know, that rise to power, as well as how they're constructing the Death Star. After that, I would follow up with the book Lost Stars. This book actually covers a pretty big chunk of time, running right after the Clone Wars all the way till the Battle of Jakku. Now, while a lot of that isn't totally relevant to Rogue One, the front section is kind of just getting your look into the Empire and, you know, the people that are there that feel like they're doing good through the Empire. I think that's very important going into Rogue One, that, you know, a big portion of the galaxy has this view that maybe the Empire isn't bad, and that the rebels are actually this insurgent group that are terrorists and trying to take down this form of order that's going on. Now, being that Rogue One is supposed to be this kind of gritty war movie, a great book to read within all this is Battlefront Twilight Company. For those of you who have played the game, there's not really a storyline that goes on with it, but it gives you that great Star Wars experience. Twilight Company follows this company of rebel soldiers during the struggle with the Empire in those early years. It covers a pretty good chunk of time as well. So we're moving closer and closer to A New Hope, and another good book to follow up after that is A New Dawn. Many of you are familiar with this book because this was one of our big introductions to Kanan and Hera. Smoochy, smoochy. Oh, Kanan and Hera. This book sets up a lot of different characters for the future of the canon. You get Rey Sloane, who we see in the Aftermath series now too. I know that's a ton of reading right there, guys, but you know, audiobooks are like the way to go too. What do you think I do when I drive? I can't read a book. I listen to it. Now, if you're not caught up on Star Wars Rebels, I advise you to do that, because while that deals with some other storylines leading into the bigger picture, you know, again, it gives us this look at the rebel movement and what's going on there. It's going to deal mostly with Jyn and her family, as well as some focus on Director Krennic. Now, all of that is canon material, but if you want to throw in some Legends stuff in there to kind of prep yourself for Rogue One, if you can get your hands on Dark Forces, go out and play some of that game, because that is some meaty Rogue One inspired material. Charming to the last. Governor Tarkin. I noticed your foul stench when I was brought on board. Okay, can we all address the fact that Leia kind of goes British for like a second in that scene? What's that about? Governor Tarkin, I noticed your foul stench when I was brought on board. I hope you guys can dive into some of that material and get just even more jazzed for Rogue One. Thanks again for joining me. Remember, new episodes of the Force Cult podcast on Saturdays. If you have questions for me or the gang, you can always send them to ask@forcecult.com, or please tweet some questions straight at me so I can answer in the cockpit, aka Star Wars Kid. Well, guys, it's been a pleasure, and may the Force be with you. Ba-da-da-ba-ba-ba-da-bum-bum-ba-da-da-da.